Hey everybody, I'm Diane Gale and welcome to my channel Sustainable Slow Living. Today we are going to make some honey butter popcorn together. Popcorn is one of my favorite treats. I don't eat a lot of caramel popcorn because it has corn syrup in it. This is very much like caramel popcorn without the corn syrup, so it doesn't get better than that. And fall is the time that I'm looking for my popcorn to get that kind of sweet treat every once in a while. So I have popped 15 cups of plain popcorn here, and I've spread it out on this large baking sheet with parchment lined paper underneath. And over here we are going to get to making the sauce. Now you don't ever want to turn this on high because everything that goes in here is pretty sticky, except for the butter of course, but it's just super easy for this to stick to the pan. So I'm just going to start it on medium until it warms up, and then from there if I have to turn it down, I will. I'm going to start by putting the butter in the pan so that it coats the bottom of the pan as the other ingredients are going in. And we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of butter, and then we are going to add in half a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of honey. This honey is super thick because it's a little cold in this room, but it should still just go right in there. And then I am going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now you don't have to add the salt if you don't want the salt in your diet, but the salt seriously enhances the other flavors in this honey butter coating. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this to what's called a soft ball stage. And basically what that is when you take a little tiny bit on the end of a spoon and you drop it into a glass of cold water. I will put some cold water in here. It will form a ball, and when you take that ball out of the cold water, it'll be sticky and malleable. You'll be able to move it around with your fingers. That's when you've hit soft ball stage. And that's where we need this sauce to be before we put it on our popcorn. So this is blending together nicely. It's starting to bubble up quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to test it to see if it's reached soft ball stage. And it has not. So back on the burner it goes. You're going to want to stir this a lot while you're cooking it, because like I said earlier, it has a tendency to stick to the pan. So I went ahead and I cooked this sauce down. I took it off the heat, and I am going to go ahead and put a half a teaspoon of baking soda in here. Now when you put the baking soda in, you're going to get a little bit of a reaction. It's going to foam up. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's really turning into, it looks like a foamy beer. So just put the baking soda in, spread it around on the top, and then stir it in rather quickly. And then you're going to want to go ahead and you're going to want to drizzle this all over your popcorn. Now when you're putting it on the popcorn, it's not going to coat it evenly, but don't let that worry you, because we're going to put this in the oven and we're going to stir it regularly while it's in there. And that is going to help it to coat evenly. The oven is going to reheat it back up to the higher heat that it was at before we put the baking soda in. And that's going to help it distribute evenly over your popcorn. I'm just going to take and give it a little bit of a stir now, just to kind of pick up the bits that are on the parchment paper, because a lot of it falls down onto your parchment paper. So we'll stir it up a little. And then we're going to put this in a 250-degree oven for about 30 minutes. But we will stir it every 10 minutes while it's in there. You're going to want to make sure that you put this on a rack in the middle of the oven. You don't want it too close to the heat source. So I'm going to take this up and get this in the oven and get that done. And then I will be back down here with you so that we can have a taste of honey butter popcorn together. A couple of the things with this recipe didn't work out as anticipated, and you're going to want to know about them if you make this popcorn for yourself. So the first thing that didn't really work out was the soft ball stage. Now, if you're used to making candy, you're probably not going to have any trouble with the soft ball stage. I think I might have had an issue because I had some ice in my water. I thought that it needed to be that cold. I don't really know, but it doesn't really matter. I never had the honey butter mixture form a soft ball in the cold water. But it had cooked a little while, it was bubbling up, it seemed to me like it should be done, so I just went ahead with the recipe and it worked out great. So once I cooked it quite a little bit, I put the baking soda in and it foamed up, and then I poured it over the popcorn. Worked out beautifully. The other thing that did not go as anticipated was how long it took in the oven. Everybody that I've seen doing this online was baking this for a while in the oven. Like, I think they were all around a half hour. It might have been 20 or 25 minutes, but I think they were all around a half hour. And that was not my experience at all. I put this in the oven, and the first time that I went to stir it at 10 minutes, a little bit in the corner of the pan had started to burn. So I just stirred the rest of it up really, really well and took it out of the oven. So it was literally in there for 10 minutes, and then I took my time stirring it up really well so that it would be nice and coated. And it is pretty coated. There's a couple pieces that got missed, but I saw that in everybody else's recipe as well. So I'm going to call it a win. I can tell you this, I have tasted it and it is absolutely delicious. It is so much better than caramel. I'm not even kidding you. It is like an improvement on caramel. And without that corn syrup, it is exponentially better for you. My understanding is that you can put this in an airtight container and you can keep it for up to 3 weeks. I'm not sure why you would want to do that because it is fabulous and you're going to want to sit down and eat it. It's a large bowl, but if you're sharing it with other people, it's probably going to go pretty quickly. Don't miss out on this. Make sure that you make some for yourself. Enjoy every single bite. And as always, I am so very glad that you joined me here today, and you and I will get together again and we will do it really soon.